Good evening, everyone. It's Jazz. It's the West Ham Minds channel. We don't often go live in the evening after games, but it's such a day and it's such a momentum building up to this kind of evening for West Ham fans. And it looks like you guys are dying out there to kind of listen to each other, see what our views are. You can have your input, so we'll read out messages, get it answered by me and Frankie and things like that, really. So first of all, welcome, Frankie. How are you doing, sir? Can't hear the audio. Can't hear you. Yeah, Frankie will come in and out, and we'll get that sorted for you guys. So Frankie we'll sort Frankie's audio out shortly. Hopefully it works. But yeah, it's basically a show about tonight. I mean, this is my third show after the Arsenal game, and listen, it's very, very frustrating. It looks like it's kind of peaked in terms of there surely can't be that many West Ham fans out there now that are happy with this. They're kind of okay with it if he gets a new contract. They've been happy with the way the performances have been so far. Let's try again.
You got me now?
Yeah, you're back, mate.
Hey.
You're back. Good. Yeah, I was just kind of saying it's one of those. I don't know if it's momentum or it's kind of peaked for me. I think all this David Moyes and West Ham and all that kind of thing. I think it's quite a big result today, and we've seen footage from the match, and I'll go into a bit later on about yourself. Were you there? I think you were there, or not? No,
I wasn't, mate. And I knew what was coming. I said to me boy, I said to him, do you want to go over? I couldn't encourage him. He played his first ever football match yesterday. He got into an academy and played his first ever football game. So he had an hour and 40 minutes of matches to assess what their abilities are and where they are in terms of development. So that was really good, but he was really tired, and I sort of normally would drag him over there, mate. It's what we do. Me and him, the thing we do is we go football. And I just couldn't force him to go over there. He wasn't that interested. He's getting fed up with it. And I knew exactly what was coming. I said to my dad, my dad said, come on, you're coming over. I said, it's going to be a cricket score. I said, I couldn't go over there and face it. And the inevitable happened, mate.
I think obviously, the ex-apprentice guy, Bosch, what's his real name again? I forgot. The one who sells beds. So he's took his boy and he's some picture of him crying at the ground, and he said he wished he stayed at the pie and mash stall outside with his little boy and stuff. So lots of kids upset, mate. And for me, like I said, I think it's kind of peaked for a lot of people, and the footage from Sky obviously was half time. I've never seen what I saw for a long time. A lot of fans sort of going home. I heard they went into the pubs. I've heard, not quite home, but it doesn't matter where they went. And it's just I mean, you've been on Twitter, I've been a little bit on there, and we do it through the channels, we do it through sort of people's comments, and frustration is kind of I mean, I know it was that survey, wasn't it, Frankie? I don't know what it was, 55% wanted him out, 45 didn't, and then it was 50-50 before that, and now are we heading towards 65-35? They're all stats. We can't speak for every single fan, but for me, mate, it's the culture of the club, and we're not going to win European Cups, and winning is more about the performances on the pitch. Like you said, you've taken your boy and you've been very, very bored, not much entertainment, not many goals, which is what kids want. Kids want strikers' names on the back of their shirts and things like that. They're not going to look at passes sideways, backwards, and there's been so many things about entertainment football, inability to progress in transfer windows, the youth. Still haven't got a striker on the books of any name to mention, and then it's excuses in the press conferences, copy and paste, as though we're really, really stupid, and it's just peaked, isn't it, mate? I mean, I don't know if you've peaked tonight. Certainly Nick has at Claret and Booze, I've heard. I don't know if you peaked today, or whether you've, like me, weren't really surprised deep down if you look at yourself and You know, I know got a very lucky December, and I did that thing you know about it where I said, "Oh, my humanity's coming out. Is he going to go in the window and buy a striker, build on that bit of luck he's got, and then start playing a bit better?" And you kind of you knew it, he wasn't, and he didn't. It's gone reversed and that. We were very very poor Brighton, mate. Don't tell me you went to that game, did you? The Brighton.
I did. My boy was mascot for that game. He was mascot, and he enjoyed obviously the mascot element of it. But obviously coming up, it was late. It was a school night. It was windy as anything. I don't even remember it, but it was during the storm. So trying to walk him across to go to his mascot place, I had to hold on to him because across the bridges, it was literally lifting him off his feet. So it was quite funny though. Before the game, we saw John Moncur. He pulled up in the car park with us and the car park attendants parked just right under this tree. It's the biggest tree you've ever seen in your life. It's swaying in the wind, looking like it could fall over any minute. You've got the biggest car park in the world with about 100 spaces in there, and the attendant went park under the tree. I said, mate, you're mad. I said, we ain't parking there. I said, that tree's going to come down on our motor any minute. Anyway, no, that's where you got to park. John Moncur got out and stuck up for us, and he was like, no, he ain't parking there, mate. He said, they were having a laugh, and you? So we moved it along. But mate, that night was awful. We ended up leaving just after half time. He just needed to go home and go to bed. There was no reason to stay, was there, you know?
Last game I went to was a Bristol City one. Went 1-0 up. I thought, just relax now, we're going to be okay. And obviously we know what happened, especially in the away fixture. Very, very lucky against Bournemouth, mate. Again, very under par performance there. Got done by United, and that kind of thing was going to happen, and then got properly done today, mate. And it's the window's gone, mate, and we bought someone in that we didn't really need. And it's mind-boggling what's happening. You're hearing all these things about Tim Steidten linked to Liverpool, whether he's happy or not. Why we didn't go quickly in the window. I mean, we got rid of 4 players, I think, and bought one in that we didn't need. So the poor squad is even more poorer. There's nothing on the bench to bring on. I mean, the half-time subs, mate, were like Mavropanos and all that kind of thing, defensive things. Nothing to be. But where do you stand mentally with this? I mean, Frankie. I mean, I thankfully don't have a season ticket. I don't have.
We've been through some tough times with West Ham over the years. We know that we're never the glory club. We can accept that, and we had a little moment of glory, and that was fantastic, and that's all great. But for me, I've said it for ages, mate. I've been saying it for a long time. People overanalyze football these days because of YouTube channels, and everyone wants to be an expert, and everyone wants to talk tactics, and everyone wants to talk about the infrastructure of a club and the ins and outs of everything. Football's really simple for me. If I go, I watch it and I enjoy it, then I'm happy. And at the moment, my boy loves football. I can take him to Dartford, Ebbsfleet. I can take him to Maidstone United. I can take him everywhere I want, and he'll sit there and he'll enjoy every second. And I won't hear a peep out of him for 2 hours while he's watching a football match. We go to West Ham after 15 minutes. Dad, can we go? Dad, can we go? Can we go home now? And kids see it purer than anybody else because they haven't got no agendas. They haven't got no, they've got nothing really. All they see is what's in front of them, and not having the ball and chasing around like headless chickens with no real intent, hoping for a moment of magic just isn't enough, mate. And enough's enough now. I've tried to do what you did as well. And I said I wasn't quite as, well, I accept Moyes now, but I said I have to tear up what I know about football a little bit because everything suggests we should be losing football matches. But actually, for whatever reason, we keep getting wins. And I don't know how we're doing it. But that's gone. And now what's happening is nothing's really changed. This is what everyone's got to understand. Nothing's really any different. But we've started to get what we deserve playing the football that we were playing and that we play now. This Arsenal score we saw today could have easily happened the last time we played them, but it didn't. They had more touches in their box, record for a Premier League football match against an opponent. On another night, this happens then. But for whatever reason, Moyes was getting away with it time and time again. Well, this run out. And now we're starting to see we're getting what we deserve. If you're going to try and do that shithouse football and defend for your lives, don't really want the ball, not really do anything, it's just awful, mate. And I go over there now. I don't enjoy it. Today was the first time ever that me and my boy have said it's not even worth the effort. And that's really sad because that's the thing we do together as a parent and a son, and we love to do it. And that's when you've got to say enough's enough. That's where you've got to then draw a line under it and say, and that's what all of these silly pundits who haven't got a clue what is actually happening to us week in, week out, and what we have to sit and endure and what we've got to sit and watch. Tell them to go over there with their kids and watch it and sit there and pay their money and pay hundreds of pounds to go over there and have the journey home and have the stop go signs and have all the effort that it takes to go over there, and tell them to go through it week in, week out and see, then ask them, now how do you feel? And they'd have a very, very different opinion, mate. We're dropping like a stone. All those arguments we had of, oh, we're in the top six are finished. I'll tell you now, whoever we get in Europe next will beat us. So we'll be out of that, just like we did in the FA Cup and rolled over against Liverpool in the League Cup. It's absolutely disgusting what's happening, mate. And the thing is, see the board, they do actually listen. When we put pressure on them, they do actually react, and they watch these channels and they do feel the fans, because they never, after what happened that Burnley game when the stadium went crazy, they never wanted that to ever happen again. And they watch with really close attention now, and we let them go through that transfer window without making a signing. We should have been putting pressure on them. We should have been banging on these channels, and we should have been going, sign someone. We've got a platform to kick on, sign some players, or you're really going to feel that next time we're in that stadium. And we let them off the hook. And then today, to go through a window like that, to have the window close on us, and then to have to play Ben Johnson, a player who's a right back and can't even get in the team in his natural position, have to play on the left wing, shows you how limited, how small options we've got, how poor that squad size is. And that just says we should have done some business, mate. It's disgusting that we didn't do any business. I can't believe we allowed them to only sign Phillips. And it actually shows you, though, you've got to also look at Moyes, because at the end of the day, he was happy. He was basically told, if you want Phillips, we've got to get some of the wages gone. So he was happy to let Kehrer, don't tell me Kehrer couldn't be doing a job for us right now, because we're looking terrible at the back. Absolutely terrible. Ben Rama, I'm not his biggest fan, you know that, but he's got to be better than playing Ben Johnson on the left wing. And then, even the players who went out on loan, the two young players who were on the edge of breaking into the first team, one's a striker, one's a left winger, two positions where we're massively limited. None of it makes any sense. And I did believe that would change now Steidem was there. I really thought we was going to have a different approach, early business, signings already lined up that we'd been looking at for ages, get our business done. Mate, it's just, I'm gutted. I was fuming today, mate. I've got to be honest. I was so angry. I was shaking with anger, and I'm shocked at how many of these channels that I've listened to since then who've just said, it's just an off day, and shown no emotion. It's disgusting what's happening at West Ham at the moment. It's ruining it for so many people. And I do feel, like you said, it's come to a headed point now, and enough's enough.
I think when he first started off, what you were saying, Frank, you have a go, innit? When you play football, have a go. Have a go, score goals. You tell your team, have a go. Harry, we all mock Harry for the reasons we know. But to be fair, Harry was very good at playing good football, especially people like Ben Rahman, Fornells, who had something bit of a skill about them. And he would say, he would never curtail that. He would encourage it. He'd put his arm around them and say, bit of the same, mate. You know what? I brought you here. Go and show your stuff. Simple instructions, isn't it, Frankie? Have a go, which means attack, try to score a goal. That is why football was created. And I've been mentally all over the place for all the time Moyes has been here, well, certainly the last 24 months, that I've forgotten what it's like to enjoy football. I've forgotten what it's like to cheer on a striker. who's scored a goal or nearly had a goal or he's had a shot on goal. Forget fucking scoring a goal. Have a shot on goal. And the stats today, Frankie, it's one shot on goal, mate. And I can't even remember that. I don't even know what that was. And it's not only against Arsenal, it's similar stats against Brighton, with respect against Bournemouth. Football shouldn't never be like that. And why we used to enjoy football at Upton Park is because all of those things. We knew what style we were going to play. We were going to clap the crosses, the corners, the shots on goal, the flying tackles, 100%, leave it all out there. And then, of course, no one wants to lose games. It'd be stupid if we want West Ham to lose. But that was the main foundation of us going out, meeting friends, pubs, which is all gone from the venue. Like you said, the venue, it's already shit anyway, but on days like today, it'll be 4 times as bad as Upton Park would have been, because some people still come back and said Upton Park times we had a laugh with that guy, in that pub and that kind of thing. So we really look forward to Saturday. You start work on a Monday, you probably look forward to Saturday, even though it's a couple of days away. No one wants to go. No one wants to go Stratford, mate. Even your boys, like, I can't be asked. And I don't even talk to anyone at the match, Frankie, like I used to. I used to love mingling in with people, get there early, have a laugh, and anything happened on the pitch was a bonus. I go straight to the ground when I go, mate. Keep my head down. Don't want to pay the club any more money. I do not buy any drinks or food at the club anymore. It just takes the piss. And I'll do all of that before I get there, and I'm in and out quick as you can, mate. That again tells you how I want to do it. Club shop, you must be fucking joking. I don't want to go in a club. Why? I don't want to go in there. I don't want to buy anything in there, and things like that. And you look to the lineup today, and 4 fullbacks, at least 3-4 CDMs, mate, and that's only Bowen and Kudos really up front. Kudos obviously, couldn't do much or didn't do anything. Bowen, he ran himself into the ground, I felt, Frank. He ran and ran and ran, and those two centre-backs. Yeah, those two centre-backs, they quite physical with him, as they would be, a lot bigger than him.
But again, mate, we all know Bowen shouldn't be playing down the middle, mate. All his goals come from out wide. He isn't a central striker. He'll never be a central striker. It's just another stupid Moyes tactic that's never going to work out. Mate, I watched his rant, and, mate, don't worry about that. I'll pull less punches than Nick at Claret and Blues. I don't pull anything, mate. You know that. It's an absolute liberty, mate. And that stadium today, I buy a lot of tickets on the ticket exchange because I've got a lot of people around me who ain't season ticket holders, and you could tell today that also that stadium had bundles of Arsenal in it, because you can always get tickets on the ticket exchange for even the big games when it's someone from up north. But you knew that because there was so limited amount of tickets on the exchange, you knew Arsenal fans had been buying them up. And I heard there was a lot of trouble today with Arsenal fans in the home end. Lots of altercations, lots of things going on. And there's loads of people moaning online about the poor stewarding, the lack of control, just the lack of people who understand football at a footballing event. We're going back here again now. And I tell you what, mate, I'll tell you one thing. David Moyes has been the perfect man for this board, because anything that has gone wrong, and I'm not saying loads has gone wrong under the last couple of years, because, I say that, we had a really poor league form last season, very much covered up by being able to beat minnows of third tier Europe, which sort of got us through and sort of covered up what we did in the league last year. But at the end of the day, mate, it's just that man. Everyone's going to stop now, I think, targeting David Moyes as the scapegoat. And I think everyone's going to start putting their attention on the board again. And they won't want that, mate. They won't like that. But I tell you now, with the lack of investment, the lack of spending in the last window, with the dithering they are with whether they want to keep him, let him go, not talking about his contract and not dealing with the situation, not trying to show ambition when we've got the platform that we had to kick on, mate, that attention will soon turn from the Moyes out to actually we need to start getting on the boards back again. And it will turn very sour and very nasty very, very quickly. And I think they'll be quite surprised at how quickly things can go from European champions, we know what we are, to really focused on Sullivan and Brady again. I can see it coming. It's simmering already, mate. It's simmering already.
I think, like you said, the Burnley game, that was when, Sullivan doesn't want the fans turning against him. He'll stop going, and he hasn't got David Gold to share that burden with anymore, and he don't want none of it. Surprised the boys have backed off completely. I don't see them much doing anything around the club anymore. I don't know what they're up to. Maybe they're wiser. I don't
Floating
know.
around when you go to the lounges, that you don't see Dave Sullivan Jr. very much anymore, but Jack Sullivan's still floating around.
I hope he's still
he
there.
He done that podcast recently. Did you see that podcast he done recently with who's the hashtag guy? You know what I'm talking about? Spencer. He done a podcast with him. You're not seen Spencer, it. It's an interesting watch. He'd clearly Sullivan's Jack Sullivan has clearly been briefed. He was like a robot, someone who's been told to say things in a certain way. He was like a PR molded person who can't think for himself, but has been told to say this buzzword and that buzzword and talk about this and talk about that. And it was a really good watch. Snazzy Azzy just said it there. Great watch. But you could tell he had just been briefed to the high heavens on this is what you need to say. This is how you need to say it. These are the words we need you to use. And it's just same old story, mate. They're very political. As we know, Brady's involved with politics and all that sort of stuff. And she had her uses, mate. But at the end of the day, one thing becomes very, very, very clear always. And that's the fans are the very last thing that they consider or care about when making any decisions for West Ham United Football Club. From the stadium, from when to invest, from players to buy, through the manager, no matter what they do, fans come last. I've told you before, mate. Player awards, you go to them every year. Player awards, players used to be able to sit on the tables on each different table. Now they're behind a barrier. Don't go anywhere near them. Don't interact with you. Don't want you to know. Signing stuff outside the training ground now. They want you as far away from it as possible. Don't want anything being signed. Fans are literally on the last consideration for anything that the owners of the football club do. And it shows, mate. It shows because I've never felt so removed, so retracted from West Ham United as I do now. Never felt more. When you become a mascot, now the players are behind a barrier when they're signing stuff for the kids. The kids can't even mingle with the players anymore. The parents get put in a room. Mate, I just cannot believe how this club treats the people that's supposed to go there week in, week out and pay their hard-earned money on following the team and supporting this football club. It's disgusting, really, mate. And you're right. And as he said, the culture is what's wrong. We don't really give a damn. The training ground's a dump. There's stuff falling apart everywhere. The roof's leaking in our stadium. It is from top to bottom, mate. It stinks. Absolutely stinks. And if anyone thinks that Paqueta, who was watching that football match today, if anyone thinks that he'll still be around after the summer, they're mad. And all these people who did back Moyes and thought everything was great and thought the club was in a good stature and going to kick on and everything else, we've seen it all before, mate. Every time West Ham get a platform to kick on, every time you think West Ham's going to become the club we deserve to be, we're not a tin pot working man's club out of East London no more. We're a massive club in the top 20 in the world for revenue generated, in the top 10 in Europe for the last decade for net spend. We've got the second highest attendance in the country. We are a massive, massive, massive football club that deserves to be right at the very top, challenging for things and exciting us and playing football with all these new exciting players like Kudus. Kudus deserves to have players around him that will feed off of him, and you could just sit there and watch it as a pleasure. And instead, we've got one of the, are we the oldest squad in the league, or we're certainly in the, whatever.
Top
we've got
two,
the smallest squad and the oldest squad, and we've spent £500 million. Top 10 in Europe in the last decade, and look at where we are. We need a total rebuild job again, mate. It's madness. It frustrates me so much. And today I was just so angry, mate. I was fuming. And people turn around and say the players have got to take accountability. The players were put out there today hung to dry. They were hung out to dry because you had Ben Johnson on the left. Poor Emerson. Everyone said, oh, how bad was Emerson today? He was terrible because he didn't have a left midfielder in front of him who knows how to play left midfield, who knows when to help him, who knows when to cover him, who knows how to double up on Saka when they need to. Ben Johnson left wing was an absolute joke. Is that what we are? After spending all this money and being the size of club that we are, we've got to put our right back, who struggles to get in the team, out on the left wing. It's madness, mate. Madness.
It is. I mean, Snazzy, as you mentioned, is the culture. I don't think the owners ever stood the culture, Frank. They never understood the club and the people that employed them. You remember when they came in, they sacked a lot of people that have been at the club for many, many decades. The stewards, well, we know what they're about, and they don't understand us either. And it took a long time for the ground to be improved a little bit. It's still got so many issues, mate. And that's kind of what it's about. It's the culture, the club. It's kind of why Moyes didn't go in the summer, and we would have said thank you very much, head held high, you won a tournament, go and fuck off now. And I've seen Tottenham, mate, in the same period. Tottenham brought in a new manager. I saw their game yesterday. That was football, mate. Yeah. They won 2-1. Not going to go into whether they deserved it or not, but but the manager with 4 or 5 attackers on the pitch wanted to win the game, and they won it. And he's only had 2 windows, mate. David Moyes has had about 10 transfer windows, and look at the mess. That's another thing. If David Moyes has only come in the summer, we would have said, yeah, he hasn't had many windows. Give him time to turn it around. We've gone worse, mate, in the squad, haven't we? We've gone worse.
But these nutters, mate. See these nutters? Yeah. See these people, right? If you would have turned around to them and said that, you know, the ones who always turn around and go, oh, but who's out there? Who are you going to bring in as manager then? If at that time you would have turned around and said, there's this fella called Postecoglou, they would have all looked at you like you was a raging lunatic, and they wouldn't have wanted him, and they would have said you'd be mad to get rid of David Moyes, someone who's proven in the Premier League, for this nutty Australian geezer. They would have thought you were an absolute off your rocker, crazy geezer. And the reality is there are managers out there. Just because you don't know who they are, it ain't our job. We're sitting here just as normal, everyday West Ham fans, normal football fans. Yet people turn around to you and go, oh, yeah, who would you bring in then? Well, I'm sorry, mate, but I'm not someone who's got my finger on the pulse of the world of football management. And I know every single football manager who's out there and what his credentials are and where he's been and what he's done. I don't know that, mate. But there are people out there who are employed to do that job. Now, I do agree that David Sullivan isn't that man. David Sullivan can't pick a manager for toffee, mate. We know that. But I always felt that this Steidon coming in, I felt we'd have a better window. I went into this window thinking we would do early business because he would already know who our targets were. We'd already sort of have the deals in motion, and it would be job done within a week of the window opening. The longer it went on, the more you realised that this was the same old stereotypical Sullivan window. And I also had hoped that by now, Steidon would have had the new man who was going to be coming in for us, that next level manager. But I don't know. I've heard so many people say how good he is, and he brought in the manager at Leverkusen and look at how they're doing. But apparently it wasn't necessarily him who, you know, picked that manager. Apparently it was someone else who was higher up than him who had the relationship and the connection and everything else. So I don't know, mate. All I know is, and this is the only thing I do know, I can't carry on watching what I'm watching. It's ruined my relationship with it's not my relationship with my son, but the thing that we do as an activity, is the thing we do together that we love. It's ruined that. And I've never felt less I can't believe we've gone from winning a trophy to where we are now. That already seems like such a distant memory, mate. I can't believe we was able to win something. Not only that, but sell our captain 5 minutes later, so you don't even really want to look at the pictures of him holding that poxy trophy up. And now we're going backwards and dropping like a stone to a place that I can see Kudus going, I can see Paqueta going. I've got to be honest, mate. If Bowen keeps running around like he did today, don't for 1 second think that 7-year contract he signed won't be torn up and he'll want out, because he ain't going to keep tolerating what he's having to do on that football pitch, mate. And the whole Steidon thing, we thought we had the man who took the reins, took that, not the power away from Sullivan. Sullivan's always got the power, but took the responsibility away on the footballing side of things. I'm not so sure now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does go off to Liverpool and whatever else. And if all that happens, mate, then we will have gone backwards very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think there's rumours that Sullivan pulled the plug on the Osman deal. In the summer, if you remember, Frankie, we didn't sign anyone for 80% of that window. We were panicking because we took so long with the Rice deal, and then we took another couple of weeks and nothing was being done. We didn't know what was going on, and again, that's a bit weird. And it is a bit weird why we didn't go quick in this window for anything. Sullivan likes to get people out the door before bringing them in. I don't agree with that. Bring the people in you want first quickly. They'll go. You'll sort that out. And Spurs got 2 in the first 2 days, I think. Werner hasn't missed a game, playing last 4 or 5 games, started in. That's the way to do things. And going back to Spurs again, it didn't work out for Nunes, but a kind of, I know Danny Levy gets his critics, but you see the infrastructure, the ground, the revenue. They've just gone above Chelsea, Frankie, in revenue. Spurs, the biggest revenue in London, and he sacked Nunes after 10 games. That's a very proactive owner, and I like things like that. Instead of, you got a manager who is not proactive on the pitch in decision making, got owner who doesn't do anything until the contract's slowly going to die in June. Then, like you said, he's going to look at which managers haven't got a job like he always does. He doesn't want to pay money to get someone out the club. Potter's there. Mourinho's there. I hope we do something a bit more exciting than that. Potter, I sit on the fence with. I don't think I know as much at the moment to go either way with him. Mourinho, he's kind of had his day, I think. Managers fit certain clubs. You have to look for the most important thing is, frankly, for me, forget the name, forget what they won. It's about what they're doing for me, the potential. Are they playing good football? Spurs went the wrong way, wrong fit, wasn't it, with Conte and Mourinho? But you always keep changing, always keep trying. Some signings ain't going to happen. The worst thing you can do, like you said, is, like we've done, is a couple of strikers perhaps it didn't work after Arnie, and we've just not gone in for any striker since then. Antonio, 33-year-old Antonio, waiting for him to come back. The lineup today, atrocious. No entertainment, mate. And my son was nursing a bit of a hangover, I think, and he's got a very expensive season ticket. He didn't get up to go, mate, and I didn't bang the door down to get the ticket. So that's another example of where we are. Would that have normally have happened? Because I would have known if he's going to go or not. That he's not even out of bed. He's not even getting ready. I'm always up early. I would have hey, mate, I'm going to go. That's another example for not trying to go. And we're not saying that we are glory hunters it's just gone on for quite a while now. And I don't know, the next game I'm going to go. And I mean, I know there's been a few people saying, should we bring a caretaker manager in? Just anything to end this pain. Deep down, I don't think anything's going to happen, mate. It's a funny old league, isn't it, Frankie? We're not really going to drop in the bottom 10, I didn't think. We're just going to bobble 9, 10, 11, maybe, something like that. I don't know. Going down, not sure about going down either, mate, or anywhere near it.
No, not. We've got far too many points on the board to have an atrocious season. But what is it? I mean, this is the thing, right? And this is what, like I said earlier on, we have to change our expectations a bit. When people are saying like 6th is like a massive achievement, it shouldn't really be. Like I said, with the money we've spent, with the revenue we generate, with the support that we've got, that really 6th, 7th should be the minimum. Anything less than that is a really bad season, as far as I'm concerned. And I know you've got that, the obvious top 6 and everything else. But if we're not literally the ones knocking on the door other than that, and I know it don't always go perfectly, and I know you have times where, you've got to do a bit of a rebuild or whatever. But what worries me, mate, is this squad is so old, and we refuse. And because of Moyes likes this small squad, and he flogs them. And I'll make thingy right. Roy Keane, who was on the punditry, turn around. They look old, they look knackered, and they do. They look so old and knackered. Do you know what I mean? He is trying to flog old men who haven't got the energy. This Ward-Prowse and Souček and. Oh, mate, it's so dross in the middle. There's just no. You watch that. You mentioned the Tottenham-Brighton game. Mate, Brighton have got players, and my pal said this to me earlier on. He said, when you watch it, they ping balls around, first touches, bump, 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 like that. Players you've never heard of. They track the ball, and then bang, then and the ball moves around like pinball, mate. You can't believe the
Yeah.
football they play. It's so much
Yeah.
faster than what we watch. But these players, they're no-name players. I've never heard of them before. So it
Yeah.
does show you that, you know, at the level that we're at, that should be what you can get out of you know, at the team. But you know, we know we've not got the best footballing ability when we've got Souček in the middle. But you even look on the bench, didn't you? It got to half time and you think, right, we can't write it off. We've got to try something. So who's Moyes going to bring on? You look to the bench. There's nothing there, mate. There's nothing there. We've got a first 11. That's it. That's all we've got. We've got an aging, old first 11 and nothing else. It's frightening, mate. With the
Yeah.
tenure that Moyes has had, how long he's been here for, to put us in
Yeah.
this position, and when he goes, because he's got to go now, and we've got to push him out that door as much as we can. What we're going to be left behind with, a new manager's got to come in and start all over again, and that shouldn't be the case, mate. Not with £500 million spent.
Yeah, I think Freshfielders got David Moyes type of comment that we were in the game until they got their food, mate. Definitely. And yeah, if you'd gone in the summer, mate, we could have given all that rice money to the new manager. Exciting new thing, new manager, new sporting director, Noble settling into academy football role, whatever. And then maybe we're going towards a different direction. But then, yeah, Sullivan's always going to be pulling the strings, mate, at a high level
Well, he
and
had the greatest excuse in the
interfering.
world not to spend, didn't he? He had the excuse not to spend in this window. Oh, we don't know. Moyes is out of contract at the end of the year. Well, you know, I don't want to give him all the money if he ain't going to sign a new contract. But you've got to read between the lines. He ain't saying that he's not going to offer Moyes a new contract. He's saying Moyes might not sign a new contract. So, and he come out after the polls the other day and said, well, you know, we're looking at offering one, but there's no guarantees now because with a fan reaction, Moyes might not sign it. He's such that he can twist anything in the way that he wants to twist it. Do you know what I mean? He is, regardless of what you think of the man, he's great at spinning things and appeasing the fans and getting them to maybe direct their frustration and anger in different directions. But for me, mate, it was a real bad move not to bring anybody in. Phillips was the wrong move altogether. That's Moyes. You've got to point the finger at Moyes for that one. And then, you know, I think you'd hear that David Sullivan would tell you that, you know, we did go out for strikers, we did go out for others. But I think he'd point the blame at Moyes for not wanting them. Moyes likes a small squad. He likes to keep it, you know, so there's not loads of people on the fringes. But, you know, someone said to me today, oh, with the players, you know, they didn't show enough. If you was Ben Johnson, right, and you'd started off at right back, you'd been thrown out to left back, you played centre back in a back three at times, you have had seasons where you've basically been put to the dark depths of the squad and not seen the light of day for seasons at a time, basically put your career into pause. And then all of a sudden today you rock up and go, all right, Jono, you're playing out on the left wing today, mate. Off you go. What do you think he's going to jump out there with all the enthusiasm in the world and go, you're flogging me in whatever position you fancy? This is my career you're fucking about with here, mate. This is my career as a footballer, and you're treating me like a piece of shit. It's wrong. It's bang out of order what he does to Ben Johnson. It's bang out of order what he does to players. And understand, if he does this to players and pisses them off, and they're quite popular people who are liked in the squad, that gets around with other players, and other players get pissed off because they're like, why are you doing that to my mate? And this is why we end up with a team who basically step out on the pitch and don't really want to know, mate. And but people point the blame at the players. Trust me, the buck stops with Moyes, mate. The reason why we're dropping like a stone right now is nothing to do with the players. It's the historical things that Moyes has done. It's how he's treated people. It's how he's you know, it's how he's kept this squad so small. It's how he only trusts, you know, people over the age of 30 to play a football match. It's just madness, mate.
Yeah, I think in the press conferences, Frankie, again, I think he kind of had that face, David Moyes, that he knows he's at the end of the road now. Very defensive again. There's no need to mention the European Cup in that interview. There's no need to mention reminding West Ham fans who we are, should be lucky where we are, and that kind of thing, and mentioning the last Arsenal game. He always does that to annoy people. He never takes full 100% criticism, and I think the reporters in the press conference for me are too weak with their questions.
Yes,
very soft
because
on him.
Moyes bullies them. Moyes comes out and he treats them like absolute dirt. He has a go at them. He talks to them like pieces of crap. Moyes would tell them they're not allowed in that room. Moyes is a wrong 'un, mate. He's a narcissistic, horrible, dirty piece of work who treats people like absolute shite, and it's out of order. And he does it to them. Anyone who even goes slightly against the grain with David Moyes, he abuses them. Abuses them. That's what he does. It's wrong.
Yeah, Red Smoke, Arsenal fan, welcome, mate. I wasn't there. I did hear the boos, and it was quite surprising to me. I don't know what was said, mate. All I want to say is that West Ham's West Ham. We're very honest. Didn't go down him going to a rival club. Again, I might be an idiot. He ain't going to win nothing with Arsenal. I say that right now. You guys are celebrating a third, fourth place like you've won the European Cup. Embarrassing from your manager. What you did at Liverpool, I thought that was a fucking joke, but there you go. You are the same guys that were giving abuse to Declan Rice when we were in the middle of accepting your bid, saying I wouldn't give £1 more than 50 million for him, and then we got 100 out of him. He done all right for you, more than done all right. Then you started abusing us, saying, "Do you want 50 million more, mate?" So it's an in-house problem. I'd rather keep it in-house, but you're welcome on the channel, my man, and enjoy your win, son.
See, but these dibs, these Arsenal fans, mate, they come in here, oh, we smashed you 6-0. Well, so far this season is 2-1 to us. What I can't understand is when we beat Arsenal, the last thing in my mind when we beat them 3-0 was going into someone else's YouTube channel, and Arsenal fans, and putting comments. I was out there having a beer, enjoying me win, whatever. Why people have this mentality of, oh, I'm going to waste my time going into somebody else's YouTube channel and putting comments because we've got to win. It's just, mate, this is what I don't understand about what the modern day football fan is. I cannot understand it. I don't get it. It's fucking weird. And this is what's causing the what was an amazing game for working class men to go to on a Saturday afternoon at 3:00 and have a few pints with our mates and get stuff off our chest is what it was all for, mate. People wonder why men's mental health is so bad right now. Well, I tell you what, it's because we've had something that we used to do, that we had as men, that we did on a Saturday afternoon after a hard day's work, is we'd go to the pub, we'd go to football, we'd get it all off our chest, we'd sing songs, we'd have a few more beers and we'd go home. And it's been sort of taken away from us a little bit, mate, unfortunately.
It is, mate. It is. Carrick. Yeah, lots of names out there, but like Frankie said, mate, I haven't done that much research on who's out there, who's not. But it's the club should have a scout for a player. Sorry for a manager if they are scouting for players at the same time. Red Smoke still giving it some. That's fine, mate. Go for it. Peter, Arsenal. Yeah, you know what it's like. You know what it's like, mate. You know what it's like. But inverted tube. When did I didn't say rivals, mate. London club. We didn't want anyone going to London club, mate. Man United, Man City, Liverpool, no problem, mate. I'd want to be rivals with Arsenal anyway.
Jamesy, you ain't replied to me, son. You ain't replied to me. Give me a message.
I spoke to him last week. He's having a break. He said he'd be back in a couple of weeks. He's having 1 month.
I'm only winding him up.
Yeah, he's having 1 month.
He knows
off.
I care about you, son, and he knows I'm thinking of him. I just we had a little bit of a banter back on the Brighton game where he said it was an off night, and I've been messaging him ever since when we're having off nights or off days. So he knows I'm only having a wind up.
Yeah, I mean, you boys are on Twitter. I'm not, and thankfully I'm not on there. So I think you guys need a break, don't you, now and again? So I'm not on there, James. But Frankie, you are. What I was going to say, if you have to do something, don't worry about it. Yeah, everything's cool. I think there's a few programs going on later on today. Ginger's got issues again. Ginger, I saw you come in and out the show, mate. I try to add you in, but I don't know what's going on there. And I'm just gonna send a link to Jamesy boy. You can't keep away, can you, James? I told you, chill out, mate. I told you, have a relax.
Oh,
Like,
Mr. Tony Cotter, he's just put out a tweet, mate. He said, absolutely shambles. The club will never change with this board. No investment in the window and a manager with 5 months left on his contract. Players, tactics, and the results were poor today. Where do we go from here? I don't know. I suppose Tony Cotter's going to go and get a two-bob consortium together again and try and take over the old club, is he? He's all right chatting all that rubbish, but that ridiculous attempt to try and put together a little consortium was a quite frankly a laughing stock, mate. So he's all right coming out with this sort of stuff, but
I'm not sure if that is that his account. I'm not sure. Is that his official account?
Yeah, it must be, mate. The amount of following it's got.
That's it, okay. Because I thought these players are like they work for the club, they're careful what they say and things like that. And Cotty's usually
but he doesn't, does he? Really? He doesn't really. Well, no, I suppose he does. He was there the other day, so yeah, maybe I've done him. Maybe I need to put a caveat in there before I get a bit of a case come against me. So-called Tony Cotty account.
There he is.
Oi, he's had a trim. Look at that,
mate. I was going to go off camera, but fuck it, you caught me at a good time. How we doing?
We listen. I've kind of had. I peaked, didn't I? Even I wanted him like that Chelsea game. I keep telling. I peaked after that. After that, I've just gone with it. Not really surprised. It's still upsetting. And we run the channel for a lot of things. I know a lot of people think we're mad, but it's people want to vent their frustration and they want to hear what people are saying. They want to put their feelings down in the comments. But am I surprised today? I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised how low David Moyes is going every week. We're putting 4 fullbacks, 3-4 CDMs in the team, nothing on the bench. Didn't really bring anyone in the attacking final third of the thing in the window. So Moyes gets worse and worse and worse. And in the press conference, which I don't look at, but I began to look at them a lot more, James. Very defensive, mate. Kept reminding West Ham fans, don't forget 3 months ago what we did. Don't forget that I saved you twice from relegation. So we are naughty, naughty boys. How dare you even have a go at Daddy? Again, stuck up. Yeah, very stuck up. And his face kind of said to me that, yeah, the time's up. I mean, when he goes, it will be that he went. That's the story that we're going to be told, that he went. He ain't going to be sacked. I can't see the board under Sullivan being that proactive, that gutsy like Daniel Levy. I mean, we have a go at Daniel Levy for a lot of things, but don't forget, he got it wrong with Nunes. He was brave enough to get rid of him and pay him off. He went down the Mourinho Conte route, which was very, very expensive for Spurs. So you can't knock the guy for trying. You can't knock the infrastructure he's built. But again, he swapped them around when he thought it was right. Went with this guy. He's been amazing, this Spurs guy. And then we got our board. They only instruct managers who are sitting on the, with no job, easy to bring in, old people we all know about. We never had an exciting, unheard name of our club like Brentford, Brighton have done, mate. And again, when the time is ready, they don't know who their next manager is in West Ham. It'll be whoever's available at the time. They sack him. And then it'll be Potter, it'll be Mourinho. And the culture, they don't get the culture of the club, James, and we're just banging on about the same thing. We haven't even gone into off the pitch problems with the ground, with the tenancy. We ain't going to do that today. But there's a lot of clubs, like, they're not running the club in such a good way away from the pitch either, as we know, mate. But 6-0, Arsenal, not a good show. Some of you are going to go to work tomorrow. You're going to get pelters. We're getting Arsenal fans in our chat giving it some. That's fine. We can take it. Rice scored. 1 shot on goal, mate. It's been happening. It's getting worse since, was it Brighton was a really bad game. Bristol City, both games we got hammered. Yeah. Bournemouth, embarrassing to take a point off Bournemouth. Embarrassing to take a point off Brighton. Don't know how we won those December games, James. And then it got properly smashed up last week, mate, and got properly demolished today. That's where we are, mate. Take it away, mate. Yeah.
The decline is coming this year, and we are going down the pan slowly. I think for me, I've been trying to give him benefit of that, but I think now it's slowly starting to fade and die. This season's starting to fade and die, which is pain, really. Today I was watching that, and I was fucking hurting. And I respect every man, woman, and child who's in the ground today going through that, because that was just pain. Seeing all the fans walking out half time was pain. Seeing all the fans at full time, 6-0, it's just embarrassing. The problem I have with the whole situation is it's not about changing the manager with me. It's David Sullivan doing the right thing and bringing in the next manager who's going to be better up there. Yeah, and I know people say about Potter and other people like that, but we're West Ham United. We're supposed to be going for the big things. And under the ownership, I think the ownership have really sold us down the river in January, bringing in Calvin Phillips and getting rid of 4 players. I think we needed attacking options. We didn't get any. And for me, it's like the song goes, like, it fades and dies. And that's what's happening right now. We're slowly dying away.
I think Fornells has obviously left. Very good relationship with the club and the fans. Scored a cracker of a goal. I heard. I haven't seen it. He came in we were quite lucky to get him. His stock was so high after one of those youth world tournaments that we were quite fortunate to get him. It wasn't cheap, 25 million all those years ago. I know how much he stuck up for Benrahma, mate, so respect for that. He was never being managed properly, man-managed, which Frankie was talking about, the man management skills of Moyes. You can say what you want, Benrahma. I don't think he had the right, to help him along out of those problems he had. Had the piss taken out of him as Mr. 62nd minute sub. That can't be nice for him. And now he leaves, and I'm sure he'll pick up a little bit more from what he did for us, mate. So things like that, the man management isn't good either, is it? Like in terms of some of the players, the way they've been treated,
There's a lot of issues. Like, I think I heard what Frankie said beforehand, and I think he does text me on the regular. I will say that. But the Brighton game has been the start of it. I sort of let the Brighton game go to say, like, we had a good Christmas period. Well, it's a draw, but I think it's slowly coming down the road now, and today just proves it. That's 9 goals in 2 games. And the problem is, I just don't see where we get a win from at the minute. Like, we don't even look like an attacking threat. We're playing Ben Johnson as a left winger. It just feels like it's just self-destruction at West Ham now all of a sudden.
I'd have more respect for Moyes, I have to say, if he'd been coming out and saying, I'm desperate for bodies. The ball ain't backing me. I need a left winger. I need this. I need that. I'm limited at left back. I'm limited at right back. But it almost seems like he just lets all this go. It seems like he's such a yes man for Sullivan. And that's why he's there. It seems like he just sort of went, it's another January window. I fancy a bit of Calvin Phillips. I've always liked him. I've always had a look at him. The ball's gone where you can have him, but you've got to get players off the wage bill. Who do you want to get rid of? All right, I'll happily get rid of Benrahma. I'll happily get rid of Kerr. I'll happily get rid of, all right, see you later. Off they go. And he's Calvin Phillips in, and that's all acceptable. But it wasn't acceptable. And I just wish that all those people who say that they like Moyes and they respect Moyes and they think Moyes has been the right man for the job, but if he was, he wouldn't have tolerated a window like that, sitting in the position we was in, with a European tournament that's about to kick off again, with, sitting fairly pretty in the Premier League for us of where we'd want to be. And he lets a window go just like that. Any other manager would have been kicking off and saying, I haven't got the tools here to achieve what we can do in the second half of this season. Just massively disappointing for me.
I agree with everything you just said there. I really do. The only thing is with that is, will Moyes come out and have a go at a manager, have a go at the owner when he's trying to get a contract out of the geezer?
But as a man, I couldn't see. I'm different. I couldn't help myself. I would have to do that because I wouldn't feel. I always speak my mind. I can't allow myself. If I'm going to upset someone, I still have to say it. And I know not everyone's like that, but I'd rather be truthful to myself and say that. And I wish he'd have come out and defended West Ham as a football club. If he loved West Ham, anyone who loved West Ham should have been turning around and saying, we need to be more ambitious here. We've got play. And I wouldn't mind, but like I said, we've shut that window down, and within the next couple of games, we've had to play a right back on the left wing. Don't make sense to me. No, if we're that short on bodies, how have we let that window go without bringing in any extra and letting those other players go out? I just can't understand it. I really can't.
I agree. I totally agree. Like, for me, when I look at the window as a whole, you're getting rid of Fornells and Benrahma and whatever people think of them 2 players. They were squad players, but we had to bring in some sort of attacking threat. Like, we've all known for ages about a left-sided player that we've needed at the club. We've always said Maxwell Cornet's not there. Benrahma, Fornells, that's 3 players, yeah? And when David Moyes is playing Ben Johnson as your left winger, that tells you all you need to know, really. Like, that Maxwell Cornet is not that guy. the issue that I have with the Moyes situation, with the Moyes in, Moyes out situation, it all goes back to Sullivan. And I'm so strong on this, and I will say it on my fucking chest. I really, really will, because Sullivan's allowed this to carry on and on and on, and just leave us in the dark all the way to the end. Now, if it comes to the end of the season and he goes and offers him a new deal and he accepts it, then everyone's been going at each other for nothing. Like, there has to be clarity now. Right? I know the light's got a bit fucking funny in here, but there has to be sort of clarity. Like, there's got to be some sort of like line, so to speak. Do you know what I'm saying? And there is none at the minute. It's just at the minute, where are we going? We don't even know where we're going.
But James, yeah.
Sorry, mate. Go on.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say he did that in the Sam Allardyce, where he didn't renew his contract or didn't get rid of him, and it's the fans who paid their money. They're just twiddling their thumbs for the last 4 months. Who wants to go 20 games now to the end of the season? I don't understand.
Do you think, James, that the polls that he put out the other day, do you think he done that because he's too much of a bottle job and he don't want to upset the majority of fans, so he's literally tried to gauge what his decision should be?
Yeah.
Oh, Sean's very close to Brady and Sullivan.
1000%, Frankie. I'm with you all the way.
It's mental, isn't it, though? You've got an owner who's so weak that he has to put out a poll and gauge what the fans feel before so he makes a decision that's the least unpopular one. It's just mental, crazy.
Someone put a comment in my YouTube video that I done earlier on, right? And it's exactly what you just said, Jazz, about the 2014-15 season under Allardyce. Something to do with the contracts and all that. And it's the same scenario all over again, where the fans are getting irate and intense by Allardyce. The same thing's happening now. The difference is now is that we've been in such an amazing moment currently, where we're like now it's just going, it's fucking crashing and burning. Basically, we are literally crashing and burning to nothing. Like, I don't even want to predict where we're going to finish this season, because
we're dropping our stone, mate, aren't we? No wins this year is poor form. And the worst thing about it is you can't see where the wins are going to come from at the moment. We've gone to Bournemouth and given them more possession than they've had against any other team this season. It's just wrong.
And that's the thing, Frankie. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I'm not opposed of change. Like a lot of fans, like when I do speak to a lot of Moyes in people, they turn and say to me, "Listen, if a change happens, a change happens." But we just don't trust Sullivan. We don't trust Sullivan to do the right thing, and that's the fear I have. And when I'm there shouting for Sullivan and all that, I'm shouting it because I just don't trust this geezer. This is another owner at West Ham. I'll be like, yeah, it's time for Moyes to go. At present, right now, I think it's coming to the end with Moyes. Personally, for me, I think it's just snowballing down into fuck all, and it's killing us. Basically, it's killing all the fans. Like, there won't be no fans in the ground by the end of the season if this carries on going the way it's going. So
I think, I think the thing with the grounds is we've got such a high percentage of season ticket holders. What we don't know is that the regular people, they give their tickets for free to family and friends. So it looks like there's a bit more in it than should be. And then obviously it all starts off with the owner not understanding the culture of the club, and going back to again which manager we'll get next. It doesn't, and it perhaps shouldn't be a big name for West Ham. It should be philosophy of the manager. You know, does he understand West Ham? Can he play the right way? So like Conte, Mourinho, all these other guys, it doesn't mean anything if they can't play football the way we want. Otherwise, we're back to square one again. So, like you said, I think James agreed. That's one of James' painful points of West Ham. Sullivan doesn't understand the club. It doesn't understand the culture. Otherwise, perhaps we wouldn't have moved the way we did instead of trying to stay. That's what we didn't listen to everyone. There was some kind of poll done. I wasn't online a lot back in those days, but there was a poll done, and 2 things were done that no one even knew about. No one was even asked to vote. One was the ground move. One was the stupid badge we've got. No one even knows who voted on these things. Like Karen Brady pushed it through quickly. It's about that, you know. It's you can't just chuck money out of a situation. It's about how you do things. And I mean, we've seen the training ground, the facilities. We've seen so many youngsters leave. I know they haven't made it. A lot of them haven't made it. But for me, they're just not being given the chance. I know people like Perkins. Yep, it's not gone right for him. I would have just liked to have seen him in double-digit games. I just want to see these youngsters play 10 games, and then if not good enough, go. You know, you never quite know, but they're all leaving. Whether that's asking for too much money or other things, they're just not. I don't know. Moyes doesn't seem to be a very warm person. Like I see Klopp. You know that Bradley, that fullback Bradley, Liverpool. Is it Liverpool? New youngster, 30 yard goal, an assist. when Klopp's got these youngsters on the touchline, I get so envious and jealous. He puts his arm around them like he's their own son. He's speaking to them in their ears and patting. I'm like, I never see that warmth and love from our manager, from anyone apart from Lingard. I don't know what the fuck happened there. He used to just love that kid. Apart from that, he's got no love for anyone. So if you're out of form, out of motivation, he ain't the one who's going to help you. And there's no number two, James Frankie. The coaching, Nolan, I love him, but I don't think there's much to offer there from him. He looks like he's been out on the lash with me most games. There's nothing there, mate. I want to see a strong coaching team that know what they're doing. I want more ex-players involved. In and around, use them more as scouts. There's so many things ain't right, gents, you know.
Mate, these lunatics, the corporate hospitality, they actually have a package where you go to the training ground before the match when there's nobody else there, and that's a match day experience. Why? This is how mad these people are who think they know what fans want. Who wants to go and walk round 2 empty porter cabins before you go over and watch West Ham play at the London Stadium? They're mad, mate. They haven't got a clue what we want. They haven't got a clue about the match day experience that we want. And to be honest, they don't even care either. That's the most important thing. They really don't care. They don't have the slightest care in the world about the people who spend their money and go over there and support that club through thick and thin. And this is what I've said to everyone. They'll get a big shock because it's all been all right, sticking the tickets on the exchange and, you know, all these tourists having the tickets and everything else. It will soon wear thin, mate. It will soon wear thin. And when that big old stadium starts to empty out, we've had matches already this season, like train strikes and a few other bits and pieces.
Yeah. I mean, the sad thing is I've lost passion, James. Is, you know, I wasn't really that surprised, or it's just 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, one shot on goal. Like I said, 4 fullbacks starting the game, 3-4 CDMs, nothing on the bench. We are amateurs in football. We don't know what's going on. And if a really the most experienced manager in the Premiership after Hodgson, the window just goes and closes. You've only got 2 windows, James, and you don't have any respect. You don't have any respect for the January window. Even before, do you remember how snobbish he was, James and Frankie? Sky said, Moyes, looks like you need a number 9. And he's like, yeah, but everyone else wants one, so we don't know if we're going to get one. Straight away negative. Window shuts. I don't need anyone. Now we're going to go on the spiral of losing games. Yeah.
The problem is, Moyes is just an employee. That's what I say. He's just an employee. He can be changed. But the problem is the owner of the club doesn't want to be as ambitious as the fans of the club. But let's be honest, I can't sit here and lie and say Moyes will give us some of the greatest moments in my lifetime. Because Prague would always be up there. Whether you think we deserve to win it or we was the best team in it, I don't care. Like, it's a trophy. Like, it's a moment that I ain't going to forget. Lyon, Seville, and all these other moments. But like everything, all good things do come to an end, right? It's not about Moyes leaving that's the problem for me. It's the owner doing the right thing and bringing in that high-end manager to take us to the next level. I just don't trust this geezer, mate. He let us down in the January window. He's let us down multiple times. I think people are going at Moyes through anger, and some of them need to start looking at Sullivan. Like, I think Sullivan needs to be revisited. Like, for example, 2020-2021 season, we have Newcastle at home. We lose 2-0. There is literally fan protests about GSB out. And ever since then, there's been nothing about the ownership of the club. People say we spent 400, 500 million. I get all that, but I want West Ham to spend money, whether or not whether or not you spend it, overspend it or underspend. I want West Ham to spend money. So for me, the owner of the club, what's his ambition? Because I know what I want, right? And I want West Ham to be a top 10, top 8 side with good players and trying to compete for Europe. That's what I want. What does Sullivan want? Is Sullivan just happy sitting there and going, I'm just going to take whatever I can get as long as we don't go down? You know what I'm saying?
The shame, again...
I have to say, mate, though,
Go ahead, sorry.
Like I said, this is the first time today that me and my boy have not gone, and it ain't right. And I can't carry on watching what I'm watching. It's all right, those people who don't go and everything else. And I know, James, you've got your reasons why you don't go and everything else. But when you do go and you spend all that money. I'm not saying you're a better fan, don't get it wrong, but you're more emotionally invested. When you spend 200 quid on going and you've made the effort and you've done that travel and you're getting home late, and it's a tough old gig sometimes. And in that stadium, and you come out and you got to walk all the way round, and you got to walk all the way around the station. It's horrible, mate. It's not a nice match day experience. And when you put that in, when I went Fulham 5-0, that was a tough journey home, losing 5-0 at Fulham. It was horrible. And I know you get some of these results, but one thing, though, they never used to happen with Moyes. Do you remember he used to have that thing he always used to say, I've never lost by more than 2 goals. That was he used to coin that all the time. I've never lost by more than 2 goals. Well, now we're starting to lose by 4s, 5s, and today 6s. It's happening more and more regular. And I think some of whatever he used to have that used to go in his favour, whether teams have worked us out because we've been so the same and we haven't mixed things up, whatever it is, the tide has turned. And we are dropping like an absolute stone. And I'm gutted that I don't want to go anymore. I'm gutted that I don't enjoy it. I'm gutted that my son doesn't enjoy it. And it's got to that stage where I don't care whether Sullivan gets it wrong anymore. I just need something to change. I need something to spark some life into me to want to get back over there again and start enjoying my football again, because I haven't enjoyed it other than the European games last season. Let's be fair, most of them were 2 bob teams, but the final was amazing. The league last year, which my boy didn't go to the European games because he was too young. My boy didn't see the European tour. He was too small. It was too much going on, too many fans. I couldn't have taken a 4-year-old into that environment. It wouldn't have been right. So he didn't see any of that. All he saw was a full Premier League season where we didn't win. And he would walk out there and go, Dad, how many more games have we got to lose before we can support another team? That's what it's here. And you'd go, no, we've got to stick with it. We've got to stick with it. Well, it's now it's starting to happen again this season. And we just need a spark of life from somewhere, because it's got very, very stale. It seems such a shame. We had something to build on. We had a platform. We won a trophy. We had new players coming that looked great and were a real bright spark. And it looked like we had an opportunity to kick on. And Moyes hasn't embraced it. The board hasn't embraced it. And now we're going backwards fast. And the only way I see out of it is by changes, unfortunately.
He done the right thing, didn't he, James? I mean, there's a foundation under Moyes. We were hard to beat. We were slightly fitter than we were under Pellegrini and Bilic. I mean, people can argue that. We had a few attacking outlets in Arnie and Bowen, and Paqueta came in, and then all he had to do this window was get a striker, left winger, play a bit more football, and the job was his, mate. The job was in the bag. And I think, again, football is a funny old game. And I am surprised it's taken this long. I'm not going to say the players put tools down, I don't think they're that kind of dressing room. I think they're really good lads and they try. But I thought they're going to do it last year when he was twice or once one game away defeat from getting the sack, and the players fucking won the game, didn't they? And I'm like,
I remember that week last season, Southampton at home, Newcastle on the Wednesday, and Fulham on the Saturday. Yeah, we beat Southampton. We got absolutely splattered against Newcastle at home, and then we go to Fulham and they score an own goal and we win the game 1-0, and that was really what saved his job. So I think if he would have lost that game, he would have been gone. I understand what Frankie was just saying to me ago. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But I don't want West Ham to go backwards. I don't want West Ham to go backwards to go forwards. And like, if Sullivan's going to make a change, make the right change and show some fucking ambition. Like, show something. Like, do you know what I mean? If you care and you're a West Ham fan, you will show some sort of ambition for the club. And it ain't like we can't attract big end players. We're a London-based club. We've got an army. We haven't got a fan base. We've got an army of fans that go around the world. Right? West Ham's quite a massive club. Right? Not to sort of use the pun, but we are. Yeah, like anywhere from fucking like Australia to the USA, we've got a big fan base, so we should be able to attract a top manager to the club. The problem is the reason why we don't attract a top manager to the club because the owner of the club is cheap, and he goes down that cheap option, and
it's his reputation, mate, isn't it?
That's the problem.
He ruined our reputation in the window again by not putting in bloody documents on time and stuff like that. How many clubs are there now that Sullivan has ruined our reputation with, that they literally won't deal with us anymore? Do you know what I mean? Don't think for one second that the word don't get around on the managerial front and on the player front and everything else, that just do not get involved with that man because he's a nightmare.
I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't. Like, listen, if people want to change with Moyes, then fair enough. Yeah, I'm at that level now where I'm thinking to myself, I think he's dead. I think the season is slowly dying away. Yeah, and it's pain. Like, today was just pain. Like, whether you was there or you was watching it, wherever you was, it was just, as a fan, as a supporter, because that's what we all are. We're supporters. Yeah, we're not fans of the club. We support the club through thick and thin. Because I don't go to games now, doesn't mean to say I haven't been to games in the past, and a lot of them. Yeah, I look at it and think, this is our moment now to go out and get a top manager and bring him in and build on this moment. The problem is we need so much work doing that. We need a completely new squad.
Big time, mate. Moyes has caused a bit of that. We've got an aging squad, and he wants that small squad, and he hasn't brought any players through, and he hasn't, Moyes is partly to blame for the squad being as worn out, tired, old, and as small as it is.
Maybe. I don't know. But I think he's run his course, if I'm being honest now.
Well, the squad is in this state because he doesn't like transfer windows. We've only got 2, and he just writes both of them off. For him, winter, it's really, really hard. Summer, it's really, really hard. 2, 3, 4 windows, he's bought no one. All Sullivan just chucked in a name on the last day of the window. And then last summer, I think we had 7 players with their contracts up for renewal. And then Moyes is like, I have to do so much, then I hate this. It's on his own. 9, 10 windows, James, I reckon. 9, 10 transfer windows under David Moyes. And you've seen the Spurs squad completely change with every player hitting the ground running. It's a brand new team, Spurs. I think Son's the only one in there, maybe one other. From the goalkeeper to the Dutch centre back, who's the fastest, who's the tallest, to Digi, whatever his name is, the guy that was on Genoa on loan. That guy, he's kind of turned up. Johnson, mate, I'm getting jealous, but you know what I'm like.
Basically, what it is for me, just to sort of round it up for me, is there has to be closure to this situation with the owner. Like, the owner has to come out and make a statement to say, right, what is going on? Because this can't continue. You can't just sit there and allow the geezer just to run his contract down. Yeah, he could ruin everything. He could start something that he built from nothing, and he could ruin it in one season. Yeah, if Sullivan's going to back him, which it wouldn't surprise me. It really fucking wouldn't. If someone's going to back him, then just offer him a contract and have it done with. And then we can just move on and accept like that this season is going to be what it is. If it's not, then tell us. Tell us that it's going to be the final season. We all come together, we embrace the final season, and then we move on in the summer to bigger and better things. Like, I just don't get where this is going. I really don't, with this sort of Moyes in, Moyes out thing. I think it's just going to be like that all the way to the end. And it's quite painful, really, if I'm honest.
Quite privileged. You got Man United in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Man United. Listen, we might. I think we are a big club if you guys are watching. But listen, the Man United, mate. The way you guys play is just a shit. I don't know what formation, and I don't know how you win games. You don't even know half the fucking thing. But yeah, gentlemen, it's about Sullivan not understanding the culture at the top. Not being proactive. There's a manager whose culture doesn't really fit West Ham, and somehow he's got through 4 or 5 seasons. And I thank him for a lot of things. Away from relegation, top 10, all that kind of thing. Thank you. But going forward, we need a different direction. But there's too much uncertainty on and off the pitch, and Sullivan's got history with the fans. I don't know what's around the corner. I literally don't. And there's a lot of our people everywhere. Players getting sold, new owners coming in, new guy at Man United now, and so we don't know what's going to happen. Tim, is he going to go Liverpool? We don't know. I don't know if that kind of thing at every club or not. It just seems to be more our club than anywhere else. It's just so much uncertainty. Frankie mentioned the 4 players that everyone in the league would fucking love to have. To bite a hand off. Paqueta, Kudos, Bowen, all these people. Ward-Prowse, 30 million. Like, going back to the age again, Zuma's 28, 29. I didn't realise that Agard is 29 next birthday. Where the fuck's he been? Why has no one else touched him? Because he's the one I fucking have a go at all the time. Emerson's 30, if not already. Kufal's 31. Giving out huge contracts to Souček. I don't know how many years he's away from being 30. Ward-Prowse 29, 30 next birthday. Antonio 33. And playing against quite a young Arsenal team today, I think. And this is the business end, isn't it, gentlemen? This is the real business end that the men get separated from the boys, and this is why the same teams are always in the top 4, top 5, same cup finalists. This is why. And we have let a January window go and haven't been quite smart. And like you said, Frankie said, we don't change it. We don't freshen it up. We don't give players out of form a bit of a rest. You've seen that season 2 years ago. Souček really needed a break. It just kept pounding him every single game, 90 minutes, every single match. And Bowen's the same. Interesting point, gentlemen. Why wasn't Bowen pulled off for a rest a lot earlier? I don't think he did come off. I'm not sure. It's things like that. I mean, the guy...
I don't think you can, mate. I don't think you can. I think it was so bad. I think he couldn't be seen as conceding and just giving up. I think that's what it had been seen as, is just giving up. I think he had to at least show that, especially for the fans who have stayed in the stadium, you've got to still try and win the football match, no matter how bad it is. So, yeah, I can understand why he didn't take him off, to be honest.
Didn't have any choice either, did he, Mubama? And how would you feel if you were Cornet? James, if you're Cornet this evening, how would you feel?
For me, I just don't rate him, mate. I really don't. Like, I look at him and I think, fuck me, what's he really done? I know he's been injured, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't done anything in the last few games to go, wow, I want to see Maxwell Cornet in the team. You know what I mean?
He scored at Sheffield United. I mean, that's all right. He scored
he scored a goal there, but his performance, if you take the goal away, if we're going to slag off Souček, like as fans do when he scores a goal and doesn't do a lot, Cornet didn't do a lot that game either. Like, if you go back and watch the game, he was hooked after about 65 minutes. Yeah, so he didn't really do a lot. But I just think there's major problems there, mate.
What is Cornet came in under David Moyes, right? So I don't know who bought the players. And then when you put a player on the bench, that says to me he's fit, he's ready, but then he sits through 6-0, doesn't come on. For his benefit, I think he should have gone in the window, innit, mate? I think he needs to go. It's a human being at the end of the day, and I don't know what other problems he's got. Apparently, we couldn't flog him because he would have failed a medical. I don't know if that's true. I'm just thinking he needs to manage human beings better. There were stories of Alex Krell crying in the car park in the car. I don't know. But he just, if he's not working out for Cornet, let him go.
I just think there's a lot. I think if you go through it, and we could be here all night, but I'll quickly run through what I believe, I think we need a complete new back, like 2 centre-halves, like people who can defend. I think Zuma's not a captain. Like, when I look at West Ham United as a captain, is Kirk Zuma that guy for me? No, just isn't. But then who else is there? Probably Alvarez is the only other one I can think of.
Yeah. He was saying a few things today before the game. Yeah.
Right back, I think you've got Soufal there, who's just not good enough. Like, I think he's had his best years at West Ham, and I just think he's coming on the down low. We haven't even got a centre forward at this club. Like, some clubs have got like 2 or 3 centre forwards. We've got a youth player who's our centre forward, and Danny fucking Ings. Like, Antonio's a centre forward now, obviously, but he was never originally a centre forward, so he's never going to make them runs. And before Antonio got injured, he wasn't like putting up any trees. He was in pretty like dire straits before he got injured. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just think there's a lot of problems there, mate. All of a sudden, it's just come from complete left field, but maybe that's Moyes. Maybe that's Moyes. Just it's all come on top in the end. Like, you can't keep going through this cycle and then building it up, and then eventually it's just going to go wallop, and it's just all going to explode, isn't it? And that's what's happening right now. It's exploding.
Yeah, we're going to call it. We're going to quit the show. Other things to do, but in summary, we need a new manager. Obviously, should have gone last summer. It's carried on. Didn't buy anyone in the window. Very slow death for the season ticket holders. I don't know what mental state the players are going to be in, because there is no one to come into the team. There's no one to come in apart from Paqueta. I know that's a big thing. Whether you want to come back or not, I don't know. There's too many issues for me, mate. For me, football's about attacking and goals and excitement. Not too much there. I mean, am I right? Paqueta's the only kind of attacking flair, creative player we've got, I think. So yeah, even if he's in the team, I like to have a bit more to help him out. It's just full of CDMs and fullbacks, and I think it's going to be painful death to, was it May, June time, and it's yeah, fans don't understand why we feel like this. Europa knockout draw ain't even been made. We won the group. Well, I get that. Just not excited, mate. And yeah, he could have done something in January, and he's too stuck up. He's made a few bob at West Ham, set himself up. I don't think he's bothered either way. Deep down, he's won the cup. In his eyes, rightly or wrongly, he's done a good job, and he'll get a job with FIFA, UEFA, and that'll be him done. I can't see him taking another club job. Perhaps he will. I'm not sure. So for me, it's just like I said, I'm not really interested. It just hurts me, and I'm not excited. I don't want to go to the games, even though I should. And I had a ticket in the house. Like I said, my son didn't go, season ticket holder. I didn't bash his door down and say, I know you ain't gonna go. You out last night. I want to go in your place. I didn't want to go. Like James doesn't go for the reason, and Frankie's upset. Son's watching such crap. And for me, yeah, it's just slow, painful death. I'm not going to get it. But the day he goes, and hopefully we get a new coach. If Potter comes in, I'm still going to be, I don't know. But I'll see. That's for another show. But for me, I just want an exciting coaching, mate. If it's Carrick, I'll be fairly happy from what I've heard. Whether we want a bit more experience than him, that's understandable as well. I like to have that West Ham link. I do like that when Bilic came in and people like that. I like that link. But if you can't get the link, it doesn't matter. If he's not West Ham connected, it's fine. But it has to be really good football. A bit like the Tottenham guy. Yeah, it's not our fault. It's not our problem how many in the world they are. They've got to scout those people in. And yeah, it is what it is. It's not a happy place to be, but we've got a channel. We have to discuss it. People's views, your views, everyone's views. So every day is going to be very painful for being a West Ham fan, even though I like to think that we probably going to bobble along 9th, 10th, 11th, are we, for the rest of the league? It's a funny old league where we are moaning, but the teams in the bottom 8, 9. Don't forget, it's a very expensive team West Ham have got. You look at Bowen, you look at Kudos, you look at Paqueta, 3-4 other players. A lot of the clubs would love to have them there. So a lot of money spent, but we're not quite hitting the high kind of levels that we should in these big games, isn't it, me? So for me, yeah, I'm upset, and excitement, yeah, it's fucking what it is, mate. James,
just want to say, mate,
go on,
Sebastian Hilaire's just put Ivory Coast 2-1 up, and it looks like he's just won them the Africa Cup of Nations. So that's another man that Moyes did his best to ruin his career. He bounced back,
That's nice, because I didn't know he was playing. I know he's had his health issues.
And they've done the business there. So
not bad, mate. James, how do you feel? It's not a good space we're in mentally. I'm not too happy about it.
I'll make mine short and sweet. It's going to be hard for next week, and up until Forest.
4 months, mate. 4 months. Four difficult months. I think 3-4 months.
Yeah, I think if we go to Forest and we lose there, then I think it's starting to collapse. I think the foundations that's been built over the last few years will start slowly crumbling down and just falling apart. But it's got. I don't like to say it, but you got to keep the faith, because that's all we fucking got. I'll be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, Frankie, for you, mate. Final.
I keep cutting out, mate, so I won't make it too long. But I just know change has got to come, mate, because if without change, I'm pretty much done at the moment, mate. I never ever thought I'd say it. I love West Ham more than anything in the world, mate, and it's the thing that I do and have always done. So I just hope I can get a little bit of enjoyment back out of it as quickly as I can, mate.
But the interesting thing is, before we close off, I think a lot of fans want change at the ownership level as well as the manager. So it's very interesting. It's not only about Moyes. It's about Sullivan as well. So it's a very wrong place we're in at the moment, and difficult place we're in at the moment, which only we understand. I mean, fans, Arsenal, Man United, thank you for joining, but it's our problem. It's our in-house problem. You guys, I don't expect you to understand. I don't know about your clubs, but it is what it is, mate. But yeah, James, thank you for joining, mate, and hope you have try to not think about it. Have a lot of time away from the game, mate. It'll do you good. And come back fully refreshed, mate, with a new baseball cap.
Yeah, Sullivan out.
and we'll have a game of pool, mate, one day. Give me 2-0 lead, and
we'll see how we go. Right,
yeah,
I'll take care.
You take care, mate.
See you later, Jazz.
Thank you, Frankie. Take care. God bless.
Bye,
Take
mate.
care. Bye. Bye.